Okay, so it's the Laidback Readathon, which my friend Marty hosts, and I've been a co-host in the past for this, but this is essentially a week-long readathon. You read however you want. It's laid back. There's no rules. There's a bingo card. It's just very, very chill. And I have like 6 or 7 books I would like to finish by the end of the month. And like being in a reading slump right now, it's not even that I'm in a reading slump as far as quantity. I just feel like quality has been hard for me, and like just the desire to read is really low. I don't know. So like when you look at my numbers, it doesn't seem like I'm in a reading slump, but I totally feel like I am. So right now I'm reading 6 books, which I think is also an indication of when I'm in a reading slump, as I become more of a mood reader than I already am. And so I'm reading Magic Lessons, Chain Gang All-Stars, In Want of a Viscount, which published today. The Great Divide is my audiobook. I'm rereading ACOTAR. And then I also have Rules of Civility, which is my in real life book club pick that I need to get to. So I'm all over the place with my reading right now. And this week is truly just gonna be me reading. I would like to get those 6 books done by the end of the month. I think it's pretty feasible, honestly. I also have a book called The Sicilian Inheritance by Joe Piazza that I'm wanting to get to too. I'm trying to tackle some NetGalleys so that I can have a vlog come up here soon. But yeah, that's the plan right now. My work week is pretty busy. I have a lot of meetings this week, so audiobook time won't be very high. I'll probably listen to more podcasts because those are easier for me to pay attention to as I'm working. I'm gonna have a deposition later this week that's just taking up a lot of energy mentally too. So I don't think that's helping for my reading life because I have my mental energy directed elsewhere. Like spoiler trigger for weight discussions, if that's not something you enjoy, maybe fast forward to the next clip. But I have gained a lot of weight in the last year, and I'm just not feeling my best for like both running and working out. And so I'm trying to cut some weight. And for me, keto has always been what works best for me as far as like blood sugar and things too. Like it just works for me in a way that other plans don't. So I'm just trying to drop some weight to be my best self for like this pre-running season that I'm in. I'm kind of in an off season. As I start running again, I will increase my carbs. So right now I'm just kind of playing with my nutrition. I'm kind of tired today because it's like the second day going into keto and my energy is lower as my body's adjusting, which is normal. This happens every time I do it. And so I'm really focusing on electrolytes, but I was going to work out tonight. That's not going to happen because I'm just tired. So I'm going to lay low and hang out with my family tonight. For what it's worth, I do a keto program that is very like veggie heavy, which I really appreciate because I think sometimes people think keto is just like cheese and fats, and that's not true. But like I said, I put a lot of research into this. It's a program that works for me really well. And happy Laidback Readathon. Hopefully I get stuff read. All right, happy whatever day it is of the Laidback Readathon. I'm a mood reader, so it is what it is. I read all over the place. So I've made progress in a lot of books, but I haven't made very much progress in a lot of books too. So I finished In Want of a Viscount, which is a NetGalley arc that came out on Tuesday by Lorraine Heath. I am almost done with Magic Lessons. I would love to finish that tonight, if at all possible. Again, with Alice Hoffman, you have to sit down and like really commit to it. But I'm really into the story. I really love it. I love the practical magic family, the Owens family. This follows Maria Owens, who is the start of their line, and how she kind of becomes a witch, how she uses her magic and learns. And it's the story of her and her daughter, and then how the Owens family curse starts. So if you know Practical Magic, the movie or the book, they can never fall in love, and then whoever falls in love with them will likely die, will surely die. And so we learn how that comes to be, and it's just a really beautiful look. Especially this one is that Maria, it takes place during Puritan times in the United States, which I also find very interesting. So they're in Salem, like where the witch trials are happening. She is tried as a witch, and that whole part is really, really fascinating. But then she moves to New York in this. It's worldwide. It's full of travel. And she's born in England. There's a section of them coming to America when she's on a ship. Then there's the Salem part, and then there's New York as it's becoming a bustling metropolis. And Alice Hoffman does a really nice job of acknowledging the Indigenous story and like that we've colonized these lands, which there's just little asides in there, which I really like. I think it's a good call out, but it also talks about like the history of New York City in a very interesting way. Her writing is very lyrical. She's not for everybody. I totally get that, but I am very much enjoying this. And I think that she is really deep diving into a character story. So you're learning just so much about the place, but also the character story. And Maria specifically is struggling with what it means to love and be loved. And this curse is kind of an example of that. And just the look of her reckoning with very real love in her life and how to navigate that given the harm she's experienced. So I'm just really enjoying it. I would love to finish it. I'm reading The Great Divide still, which is a historical fiction about the building of the Panama Canal. And I don't know, I like it, but I don't feel inclined to pick it up. It's just kind of slow, and I thought it would be more about the building of the canal and less about the people loosely impacted by it. So it follows quite a few characters, but it's less actual Panama Canal stuff. It's more these people who live in the communities surrounding it as it's being built and the impacts, which is fine. I just went into a different expectation, so that's making it kind of hard for me to read. But the writing's really gorgeous. If you like historical fiction that's not World War II, I think it's a good look. It's a little more literary than I think some historical fiction can be, but that's to each their own. So that's where I'm at with what I'm reading right now. I'm in the middle of rereading ACOTAR as well, just because I'm trying to read all those books before I go into Crescent City again. And then I'm sort of into Chain Gang All-Stars. I put that down for a little bit, but I need to pick it up. It's a very heavy book, and I think that's just why. It's not that I'm not DNFing it or anything. I just need to read it like in chunks when I'm ready for it. And I feel like I'm reading one other one right now, but that's all I got for you today. My brain is fried after this week of work. So see you later. Hey everyone. So it is the last day of the Laidback Readathon, and I did not do a great job of vlogging throughout the week, but as I was uploading content, I do have more than I thought I did. So this is kind of the wrap-up post for the Laidback Readathon. I love my friend Marty who does this because it truly is laid back. Like there's not a lot of expectations for it. There's no prompts. There's a bingo board, but I never do that. I just read and talk to the same people that I've been talking to for a few years now. Marty puts us into chats. So when she does a Laidback Readathon on her Instagram, it's Let's Talk About Books, baby. She will see who's interested, add people to chats. I've been in the same chat for a few years, so these people are just people that I really enjoy talking with. We kind of are like the OG group, so we're very like no expectations. It's a lot of fun. So I want to talk about the books I read this week. I finished 2 books, and I've made pretty substantial progress on a few others. So the very first book I finished is In Want of a Viscount by Lorraine Heath, and this is for a NetGalley reading vlog I'm doing. So I'm actually not going to talk about it a lot. But Lorraine Heath is a newer to me historical fiction romance author, and I'm really loving her books. She writes full, rounded female characters, less bodice ripping, weak women. It's very strong, independent women. And this one, she's like a female businesswoman, knickerbocker from New York City, and coming to Britain during the season because they're trying to get investors for their business. Just a really fun take on historical romance. I think historical romance gets a bad rap sometimes, especially in like the greater reading community, because the covers are, I mean, I would judge them too, but I just think that they are very good. They're totally my cup of tea. This was a cute one. And the thing about historical romances, especially in the mass market variety, they are designed to be read in a day, under 6 hours. That's just something that's kind of a fun fact about them, but they're just brain candy for me. I enjoyed it. And then I finally finished Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. And if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, this book has been passed from month to month, from gosh, even years to years. Like I feel like this might have been in a 2022 video. So I'm finally glad that I sat down and really committed to finishing this. And I did a whole talk up on it earlier in this video, but I was not expecting it to also be the story of Maria Owen's daughter, Faith, as she's growing up. And this also adds into what I previously talked about. It talks about like good magic and bad magic, and Faith kind of makes a turn towards the bad, and her mom saves her. And it was a very well done look at kind of like what you'll do for your children, but also making choices yourself to do the right thing. in a way that only Alice Hoffman's writing can take you through. I love her writing. Again, I know she's not for everybody, but I just really love her. So this was a like 4.5, 5-star read. I would say more 4.5, because there were parts that kind of drug for me, but overall adored the story. And then I have made progress in a lot of other books, but I don't really want to talk about those. So I'm rereading ACOTAR right now. I'm halfway. And okay, this is going to be a spoiler part. So I'm going to put spoiler right over here. Y'all, if you haven't read this, don't keep watching. End it here. Okay, you've been warned. So I feel like when I read this in 2020, when the world was just, we were in lockdown. Like it was March of 2020 that I think I read this the first time. It was before my son was born. And like Tamlin is the worst. But this read a lot slower for me, and I think it's because it's a reread and I know what's to come and I'm way more excited about it. But like initially Feyre is pretty boring. After coming out of Throne of Glass, Feyre has nothing on Celaena, and I don't know, it's just kind of shocked me a little bit because I loved these books and I still think I will love them, but coming out of Throne of Glass, the heroines vastly different, and Celaena has so many layers. So I'm just excited for this reread of ACOTAR because I now have the lens of Throne of Glass. And right now I'm at the part where she meets Rhys for the Reese. I think it's Rhys. She meets him for the first time during like the fire night. And I'm about to cringe all my way through the Tamlin relationship, which is fine. We all know the end game here if you've read this. If you haven't, you shouldn't be watching this, so that's fine. But I just like, there's so many good memes about Tamlin on the internet now that I so fully appreciate, but Tamlin talks about how he plays a mean fiddle, and that made me laugh out loud. But then just the initial introduction where Rhys saves her from a potentially bad thing during fire night. He's the best hero. I love him so much. So I'm having an absolute blast rereading this, and I will definitely probably finish this by the end of the month. But that is my Laidback Readathon vlog. I am so glad that I lazily read through this week. I did not get through as much of my TBR as I hoped, but 'tis the damn season. It's fine. So until the next video, everybody, I will see you later. Thanks.